The world does not reward kindness, it rewards power. Everything else is a story we tell children. Good people don't lose because the world is unfair. They lose because they think everyone else is playing the same game they are. They are not. Think about the nicest person you know, the one who always helps, who never says no, who puts everyone else first and quietly hopes the world will eventually return the favor. Now ask yourself honestly, are they winning? Or are they exhausted, overlooked, and quietly resentful of a world that keeps taking and never gives back? They were told that being good would be enough, that honesty would be rewarded, that patience would eventually pay off. So they waited, they gave, they forgave. And the world, the real world, interpreted every single one of those gestures not as strength, not as virtue, but as availability, as weakness, as an open door. 500 years ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli said something that made the entire civilized world uncomfortable. He said, "The gap between how we ought to live and how we actually live is so wide that anyone who abandons what is done for what ought to be done learns his destruction rather than his preservation." The world does not run on how things should be. It runs on how things are. Machiavelli was not a villain. He was a government official who watched good leaders get slaughtered because they believed the world would meet their goodness with goodness in return. It did not. He watched cruel men bring peace while idealistic men brought ruin. His conclusion was not that you should be evil. His conclusion was that you should be awake. Robert Greene spent decades studying the most powerful, most ruthless, and most successful people in human history. Kings, strategists, generals, CEOs, and he found the same pattern everywhere. Truly nice people almost never rise, not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack talent, but because they operate on a set of assumptions that the world simply does not share. The nice person assumes fairness is the default setting of the world, that if they treat people well, people will treat them well in return, that generosity will be remembered, that honesty will be met with honesty. These are beautiful assumptions, and in a perfect world, they would be true. But you are not living in a perfect world. You are living in a world where perception is power, where hesitation is weakness, and where most people, without even meaning to, will take exactly as much as you allow them to take. Machiavelli said a leader must be both a fox and a lion. The lion is powerful. He can destroy the wolves. But he walks into every trap because he believes strength alone is enough. The fox sees the traps. He moves carefully, reads the terrain, avoids what would destroy him. But when the wolves surround him, he has no strength to fight. The person who gets destroyed is always only one of these things. The person who survives learns to be both. Here is the uncomfortable psychology behind it. When you are always available, you become expected. When you always say yes, your yes means nothing. When you always forgive, your forgiveness costs nothing. And when something costs nothing, people do not value it. They consume it. This is not cruelty. This is not malice. This is simply how human psychology responds to unlimited access. We do not cherish what we can take for granted. We consume it until it is gone. Greene writes that people, even good people, are shaped by incentive. The moment you become someone who can be taken advantage of, the relationship shifts. Not out of malice, out of gravity. Water flows downhill. People flow toward easy. You are not being punished for being kind. You are being punished for making it too easy, to take you for granted. The solution is not to become cold, not to become cruel, not to stop caring. The solution is to understand that real kindness, lasting, powerful kindness, must come from a position of strength. A doctor who tells you the truth you don't want to hear is kinder than the friend who tells you what you want to hear. A leader who holds firm boundaries is kinder in the long run than the one who has none. Strength is not the opposite of kindness. Strength is what makes kindness real. Machiavelli's real lesson was never become evil. His lesson was, stop being naive. Stop assuming that because you would never betray someone, they would never betray you. Stop assuming that because you play fair, the game is fair. The world has always had rules that nobody openly teaches. The only question is whether you learn them before or after they cost you something you cannot get back. The people who survive and eventually thrive are not the ones who became hard. They are the ones who became strategic. They kept their values, they kept their integrity, but they stopped offering it freely to people who had not earned it. They learned when to be the lion. They learned when to be the fox. And they stopped apologizing for understanding a world that had never apologized for how it treated them. There is a version of you the world has been quietly trying to prevent from existing. Still kind, but impossible to manipulate. Still generous, but impossible to exploit. Still honest, but no longer handing that honesty to people who will use it against you. This version of you is not a villain. This version of you is the most dangerous thing a predatory world ever has to face. A good person who finally understands the game. Machiavelli was right. The world does not reward goodness alone. But he left out one thing. The world has never been able to stop a person who combined goodness with power, with strategy, with the willingness to see the world exactly as it is, and still choose to be something better within it. Stop being destroyed. Start being dangerous for the right reasons. This is dark wisdom. Follow, because next time we go even deeper into the truth nobody tells you.